Hey, welcome back to the Philosophy Podcast. I am your host, Controversy, and to my right, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, none other than Mr.
Darren Love.
And together, we are the Philosophy Podcast. Thank you to you guys for tuning in once again this week. Thank you for tuning in to a brand new episode. And yeah, without further ado, what is on the agenda for this week's episode, mate? What is today's hot topic?
I thought we'd talk about nature. You
Mm,
know,
that's a good one.
I do love nature.
So this week we are talking about.
Nature.
So what are your thoughts and?
Oh, everything. You know, your nature.
That's it.
You know, I'm nature, and everything's nature.
That's it. That's the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, he summarised it in one. What else? You know, what else are we supposed to say?
I can talk about nature for all day, honestly.
I know.
I love nature.
But you summarised it perfectly, mate. You know, I was only being silly, but I'm just trying to say you summarised it perfectly.
Yeah.
Everything is nature.
A lot of people.
Everything is nature.
A lot of people in life, in this world today, they don't regard themselves as nature.
Mm.
If you see what I mean, they look at everything else as nature.
Yeah.
But you know, like when they're looking at like butterflies and things like that, that's nature. But they don't look at themselves as nature themselves. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you are actually nature, just like a flower is. Do you know what I mean? Or a tree.
Yeah.
Trees can't move, you know, but we can, you know, and we are like walking trees, basically.
I like that expression.
It is.
We're like walking trees. Yeah, I like that.
You know.
It's kind of a good analogy in a way.
Well, it's true, really. We are walking trees. You know, trees are alive, but they can't walk.
Mm.
But you know, I am someone that's really quite studied nature on and off all my life. You know, from a very young age. You know, I used to love beetles when I was little. Do you know what I mean? I used to sort of like love the ants as well, whatever, you know, and whatever, you know. But obviously, as I was growing up, you know, you've got the opposite sex.
Yeah.
You know, and
You got distracted.
Exactly, you know.
Like most men do.
Yeah, and you know, I couldn't go beetle hunting anymore.
Yeah.
You know, because I had to stay in and look after my wife or something, you know, and so on
Kids,
and so on.
etc.
Yeah, you know. But I love nature, you know, and I'm studying it, really. I've been studying it for the last 5 years, a little bit more, you know, because I've got time to, you know. And actually, the more I study it, the more fascinating I find it, funny enough. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
That's the truth, you know. But, you know, it's a miracle, really, isn't it? All of it, you know, everything. Even a smile really is a miracle. Yeah. And just moving your finger is a miracle.
Yeah.
You know, nature, everything, what nature is, it's not the universe. Really. It could be actually, I suppose, you know, it is kind of nature, but I look at nature as anything alive with water in it, basically. It's got like some sort of form of a mind or control on the body as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the elements, as we know, the elements play a big part in the you know.
Well, you know, like the elements.
In nature, if you see what I mean, in the growth and the you know, how much nature has grown and expanded and you know, etc. You know.
Well, I look at like the sun and the moon.
That's it.
Right. I don't think they're alive.
Well, the sun is electric.
It's electric.
And the earth is magnetic.
That's true, yeah.
And the earth is magnetic, yeah.
I mean, without the sun, the flowers would all die. Do you know what I mean? I mean, as soon as the sun comes up, the flowers are like this. You know, they're opening up to the sun.
Yeah.
They're trying to absorb as much energy as possible, each flower, you know. And the same as people, when we go out, we need the sun too, just like the flowers, do you know what I mean? And we absorb the energy too from the sun, you know?
That's it, and different vitamins and nutrients and shit from the sun too. This is shit that they don't usually tell teach us and you know, in schools and that kind of stuff. This is stuff that you have to kind of research and know for yourself. But it's proven that at different points throughout the day you get different types of like vitamins and stuff from the sun. So you don't only get vitamin D, which is the primary one that they talk about predominantly, is vitamin D. You know, because that's your main source of what you want from the sun, is that vitamin D, because that helps with all sorts of things going on in your body. You know, if you become vitamin D deficient, that can affect a hell of a lot in your body. You know, whatever. But yeah, you can actually absorb lots of nutrients and shit from the sun at different points, different stages throughout the day. Whether it be early in the morning sun, or you know, early afternoon sun, or late evening sun. You know, you can get, you know, benefit from the sun. That's why you've got something called sun gazing today. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yeah.
But they've got people that talk about sun gazing, looking at the sun for, you know, a few minutes every day. You know, spending time just staring at the sun every day. You know, for 10, 15 minutes a day. You know.
I do that sometimes. I love the sun. Do you know what I mean?
You know.
When I look at the sun, I see loads of little colours.
They say it can be harmful for people, but the reality is that if you do it for short periods throughout the day, it's more than likely it's not going to be harmful for you.
Well, you look at it as long as you can. Do you know what I mean? I mean, sometimes I look, when it's high, mid-sun, I look at it, right, and it's too shiny.
It's too bright.
Too bright.
Yeah.
So I just quickly, if I, you know, my eyes will tell me if I can't look at it, they will start hurting.
Yeah.
Quickly, you know, like that. Too bright. But sometimes when it's sunsetting, you know, you can look at it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not so, I don't know. You know, I don't know. You know, but what else does the sun give us, you know?
All sorts, mate.
It does,
the sun, even the ancient people knew. That's why the sun was held in such high regard and revered and kind of worshipped as well throughout history. Because the sun, as we all know, is what, you know, provides everything, essentially. Helps, you know, is what grows the crops, you know, etc, etc, etc. You know, the list goes on. But the sun is responsible for pretty much all life forms.
Well, of course, you know, I mean,
on Earth, along with the water, of course.
The other thing it gives us, all right, is every memory we got. It almost, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, how do we memorise a tree? Only because the sun lights it up.
Yeah.
If you're with me.
Yeah.
You know, how do we learn all these things? It's because the sun's given us, reflecting a memory to us. And, you know, without the sun, we wouldn't see all these trees. You know what I mean? All these flowers, you know what I mean? All these different colours, really, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and when the sun comes up, it gives us also heat.
Heat, yeah.
That's another thing, it gives us warmth, you know? Which is another energy, I suppose, isn't it? You know?
Facts, yeah.
You know, it's incredible, really, isn't it? You know, and is the sun alive? You know, when you think about it, it's a big, vast ball of energy.
Oh yeah.
That's there every day for how long it's been there. Do you know what I mean? And I think I mean, like for instance, if you get a candle, and put it there, or a match, burn it. Well, say a candle.
Yeah.
And you get this glass and put it over it, the candle will go out because there's no oxygen.
No oxygen, yeah.
You know, and oxygen is the number one, I think, you know, for flames.
Yeah.
You know, without
of course, yeah.
Without oxygen, flames can't exist.
It can't exist because you've got the triangle, mate. You got the salt. You know, if you see what I mean. There's three things when it comes to making a fire. You have to have your fuel, your oxygen, and obviously your material. You know.
Well, I mean, I know that if oxygen itself reaches, I don't know what temperature it is, but if it reaches a certain temperature, a hot temperature, it'll burst into a giant gas of flames.
Yeah.
It is a gas.
It can explode.
This is a gas.
Yeah.
And it's also a burning gas.
Oh, definitely, because there's been, of course, there's been cases in the past where people have had oxygen tanks and people have been on oxygen for whatever reason may be, whether it be medical or otherwise, have had oxygen tanks that have exploded and shit randomly. Because they came under pressure, like you said, the pressure became too much, you know, and it causes a chemical reaction, you know. So
it is all interesting stuff, you know. Like the oxygen is all around the earth.
Yeah.
You know, I might have said it before, but I'm going to repeat it, because it's interesting. You know, you got to think we're breathing air down here, and then you climb up a mountain. And the higher you get up that mountain, the less oxygen there's going to be.
Yeah.
It gets thinner and thinner.
Yeah.
Until there's almost none. Yeah. And if you carry going up to the moon, all right, there is little bits of oxygen. but there's not so much.
Mm.
It's really thin, you know. It gets thinner.
Yeah.
You know, so there are. I don't think like space has got nothing in it, because it has. It's full of elements, you know, and atoms and all kinds of things, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know everything about it, you know, but it's, you know, I want to learn more about it in the future, really. You know, all this sort of kind of stuff, you know, about atoms and
yeah,
you know, how it kind of works.
Molecules and matter.
Even different metals, all right, yeah.
Mm.
Different metals, like for instance, say gold and silver, for instance, all right.
Yeah.
They will have different temperatures.
Yeah.
You know, all different magnetic powers. You know, and there's one particular metal, and I can't remember the name because you know I need to study more in the future or whatever. But there is a metal that only becomes a magnet when it's below zero.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, and that's interesting. You know.
Yeah.
You know, and there's, you know, it's all interesting.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I think, is water a liquid metal? It looks shiny, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and then when it freezes over, it goes all icy, you know. But is it kind of a liquid metal? Because, like, electricity can travel through water, just like it can metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so maybe it's some sort of liquid metal.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's interesting.
You know?
Yeah.
And as I say, sort of all these elements, like gold, water, whatever, they do not age.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Never age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where everything alive in nature does age.
Yes. Yeah.
They born or they come into existence like a plant does, and it dies.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, every flower's got an age on it. You know. You know, it's quite funny. Like a mouse, say for instance, they only live for about 3 years. Yeah. And so does a little sparrow or robin. 3 years. That's all they got.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you go up size, cat, a little bit longer.
Yeah.
You know, and the bigger the animal is, really, basically, the longer it's going to live. Like, for instance, an elephant, it's got like, I think it's got 60 years.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I mean, a tortoise has got like 150 years.
Yeah.
On average, you know. So it is interesting how we all got like different
lifespans. Yeah.
As well, you know, like some trees can live for 1,000 years.
They reckon too that people used to live longer before too.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
That back in the day, back in the day.
Well, I heard actually we didn't live so long.
And likewise, but they reckon that
we lived to the age of 40.
That kind of age, yeah.
You know, like things were harder back then, yeah. And today I think we've got like in this
modern medicines and shit that keep people alive and shit.
Not just that. Well, I think we're more knowledgeable with food.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you know, and I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
And not only that, health, how to look after ourselves and protect ourselves and.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't really go into a shop, I don't think, 150 years ago and buy a healthy yogurt.
Yeah.
You know, it's all come into existence in the last 50 years or so, I think, you know, all this stuff, you know. But we're living in a world where, you know, we're getting more health conscious and learning about food more.
Oh, definitely, that's facts, facts. And I think social media, that's one good thing about social media has done today, is you know, there's lots of different people on there that have created their own avenues, like promoting that type of stuff, if you see what I mean, like healthy lifestyle, you know, exercise, fitness, etc. You know, not only looking after your physical but your mental as well. You know.
But yeah, nature. You know, I think it's. You know, I think even a bit of grass is a miracle in itself. Do you know what I mean? Just a bit of grass.
Yeah.
I mean, you can imagine it, right? There's nothing on this planet at all, nothing alive.
Yeah.
Which I think once upon a time that was the case. There's not one thing alive on it.
Yeah.
You know, long time ago.
Long time ago. Yeah.
Just I don't know, you know, just nothing. You know, and then something alive started existing on it. Do you know what I mean? Like a bit of grass or something, you know, and it took off. You know, like started growing another bit of grass, you know, whatever, and it evolved.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it magically just appeared there. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Do you know what I mean? This grew, and it grew slowly, you know. And I think we evolved from insects. That's what my belief and theory is. Do you know what I mean? I think, you know, insects. If you look at insects themselves, which I do a lot, they're so amazing. You know, they're like looking at a tiger or a zebra right? A lot of detail on them. But when you look at little things like a jumping spider about that small, they look like little zebras too. You know, their little legs are black and white and all this, you know, or they look like tigers sometimes, you know, and they've got just so much detail on it, on them, that if you were that small, these would be big animals to you, you know, in a funny way.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, and I just think, like, spiders, right, people might not think they're intelligent, but they got eyes, they got ears, they got legs, you know, and when they're born, they've got to learn how to walk. That's what I think, you know, and they've got a saw, and I don't know how can you measure what a saw is. It could be like it could be that small, you know, and it could be inside an ant, and it could be that small inside us, really, right, but we're big. You with me? You know, like I might, you know, like I watch flies sometimes, and how intelligent they are. You know, they dance like this, and you know, to me, little flies are better flyers or more skilled flyers than any bird that I've seen. Even including the parrot and falcon, which lives quite close to me. You know, and they're the fastest birds in the world. You know, when I think these little flies, alright, they're so talented at flying. You know, especially when they're in love and there's a couple of them, they spin around like this. And they do all these quite remarkable patterns that, you know, and I think every living different thing has got a different pattern as well.
Oh, of course,
There's just so much out there too, you know, because I go out looking for spiders sometimes on the internet, and I'm still discovering new ones. You know, and I don't think I'm going to stop, you know what I mean? You know, because that's what I do sometimes, you know, sort of like today I've been doing caterpillars. And I look for caterpillars and I share them on my Facebook, you know. Tell people what that caterpillar is. But it's on phenomenal how many different caterpillars there are.
Oh, of course, just like everything else in there.
And they've all got a different design, okay? And you think like they make a cocoon around them, right? And every different caterpillar's got a different cocoon. You know, like some of them are gold. And you think, when you look at them, these cocoon, you know, sometimes they're silver. You know, metallic. Metallic. Right? And this thingy's made it, right? And it just looks like something out of from a different planet. You with me? You know, these creatures emerge from something. They got wings. You know. You know, and I think nature's.
It's amazing.
Well, it's not just that. I think nature is intelligent. Itself. There's something intelligent behind it.
You ever heard about the Fibonacci sequence?
Yeah, I think so.
That's very interesting. If you're really interested in nature, and geometry and all that type of stuff and how it all works, research something called the Fibonacci sequence.
I'll do that later.
That's a very, very interesting topic in regards to nature and how all these different sacred geometric shapes continually reappear.
I've heard of
them. Reappear throughout nature.
Different patterns.
And all
this kind of stuff, you know.
So that's a very interesting thing about nature, you know, that I think, you know, people could look into and, you know, possibly research if they're interested, of course, you know. But yeah, like you said earlier, we're all nature, you know, we're all alive, everything is consciousness, you know. We're all, you know, we all have consciousness, you know.
Well, I think conscience itself is an intelligence.
Oh, of course,
It's it's what I find amazing about nature, really, more than anything. It's given us a memory. You know that it's got to be the memory's got to be a miracle in itself in a funny way, where you can actually memorise a flower. You know, you know, and I think that's one of the beautiful gifts that nature has given us, you know, not just memory, it's given us eyes as well and ears, you know, which I don't think people really appreciate a lot or think about, you know, and you know, like if you woke up tomorrow and you could see, you know, you just don't appreciate what we got, you know, our hands, for instance, or whatever, you know, what we can do, we can walk, you know. And people think, oh, I ain't got anything, but you've got everything. You've got eyes, you know, miracles, you know, that can see perfectly, and you can see everything with your eyes, including all the stars that are a million miles away, you know, all of them. And then you can go to sleep and memorise those stars, you know, they live with you
Yeah.
in a kind of way, you know.
Mm.
You know, nature's made us,
Yeah.
you know, and it's given us this imagination in a funny way, you know, like where we can dream up,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. You know, and like even to dream is a miracle, a phenomenal, a miracle for something alive that has ability to dream and make up things and stories themselves, and you know, do you know what I mean? That is quite a thingy, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you think like the first living thing that ever existed, maybe, you know, when it first, how did it start thinking, oh, I better have eyes, I better have ears,
Yeah.
you know, and I better put eyes on the back of my wings, you know, because all these, you know, like these butterflies, right, sometimes they've got big eyes on them, and they're to scare other birds away, you know, like bird coming in, like an owl, say, or another, you know,
Yeah.
and they see this moth moving, whatever, and then the wings stay still and they see eyes, you know, and it frightens the bird away.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why these marks are on the back of these. But you think, hang on, how did the butterfly evolve these eyes?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how could it think like that? Because we don't, do we? You know what I mean? We didn't sort of think, all right, we better evolve our eyes and our ears. You know, it's done automatically, isn't it? All of it in a funny way. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, you know, like made automatically by nature. You know, if I'm making any sense, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
You
I know
know.
what you mean. Yeah.
Now, sometimes that don't make sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, something.
Yeah.
Same with most people, mate. To be honest, you know. But yeah, nature's a wonderful thing, you know, and I think we as human beings, we don't appreciate it like we used to. You know, we don't appreciate, you know, just just having what we have. You know, the fact that it's almost like everything works in complete synchronicity with everything else. You know, it's like the sun is at the perfect position. Going back to talking about the sun is at a perfect position.
Yeah.
At the right distance away.
That's right.
We're not too far away, not too close that we get fried and cooked, but just at the right distance that it can sustain life on Earth, if you see what I mean.
That's right.
You know?
Well, so, yeah.
Without it, we won't be able to survive. There would be no crops. There would be, you know, there would be nothing. You know, if the sun was to disappear tomorrow, it won't be long before it won't be that long before everything starts to die. To be very honest.
Well,
You know?
we wouldn't see anything, would we? If the sun didn't, you know, we'd be all blind.
Be like the zombie apocalypse.
Well, that's why the only reason why we've got eyes is because we've got a sun.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know, and we've evolved eyes because of it, whatever.
Mm.
You know, if that sun wasn't there, we'd wake up and it'd be completely dark, right, and we would all look the same.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, the sun comes up, so everyone can see the trees in the morning, and the flowers and everything, all right. And not just that, I can see your face, and you can see mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
The sun goes down, we're all dark and ugly again.
Yeah.
You know, and then the sun comes up, we all look beautiful again. You know, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and if the sun never come up, we'd look, well, it'd just be horrible, wouldn't it? Oh, we got electric. We'd have to have electric, wouldn't we? You know, live in an electric light world.
Well, yeah, you could sustain that way, you know. You could sustain
and
that
use
way.
heaters to warm us up.
Yeah.
You know. But without the sun, we'd be doomed.
We'd be doomed.
Absolutely doomed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to talk to you anymore. You know, like if the sun, say it just didn't come, you know, it vanished.
Yeah.
You know, it started going the other way, you know, sort of moving away from us.
Yeah.
Further and further, right? And it starting to get colder, you know, and darker, you know, if it did that, you know, and it like started getting pretty, I think it would be pretty miserable for everyone.
Oh yeah, for a lot, yeah.
And we'd have to get, you know, keep really warm.
We'd have to find a way to adapt. We'd have to grow all of our crops indoors.
Yeah.
You know, people would have to grow their crops indoors under lights.
Yeah, and all the flowers we'd have to sort of like go
Yeah.
by lights.
Yeah,
You know.
you'd have to hope you've got a backup generator and all that kind of stuff, you know. Otherwise
The
you'd...
birds wouldn't see where they're going. You know.
Shit would die, mate. Shit would die.
You know, they'd be completely blind. Everything would be blind.
After a while, everything would die, mate. after a certain period of time, everything would just die off. You know, loads of shit would just die off. You know.
It's the only reason why everyone can really see is because of the sun.
Mm.
That's the truth, you know.
Mm.
We'd be blind without it,
Mm.
you know.
Mm.
So, you know, like a blind, sometimes I look at it through a blind person's eye, nature and all that, you know, the universe.
Yeah.
You know, and a blind man don't see any stars. You don't see nothing, you know.
Mm.
Or we don't see any trees either, you know.
Yeah.
And you got to think to yourself, you know, you got to imagine yourself if you were born blind,
Yeah.
you didn't see nothing, you know.
Mm.
How would you look at the universe then?
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
it'd be all black, wouldn't it?
Mm.
You know, nothing else.
Mm.
You wouldn't see the sun or know what it looked like. You'd feel it. You'd feel it, mind, you know. Or hear people talk about it and say it's yellow, but you wouldn't know what yellow is, or
Yeah.
you know, and so on, you know. And they'd say it's square, or no, sorry, it's round, you
Yeah.
know, and you wouldn't know what round is in a funny way. I suppose people could sort of show you, you know, like what round is by doing that, I suppose, on your hand.
Yeah, drawing it for you or something. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, I appreciate, you know, that we've actually got eyes, ears, taste.
Oh, definitely.
You know, we got food as well, you know, and we all get hungry.
There's a lot of shit people take for granted, you know. But nature is the provider. You know, they used to say Mother Nature,
Well,
and there's a reason for that. You know, because it provides everything for everything. You know, it provides for us, for the animals, for the insects, for everything, the organisms,
yeah,
everything. You know, it just provides life
it's
and
like
sustainability for life on Earth. You know, it's just like the conditions are almost perfect.
Yeah, like you said, like, you know, the sun isn't perfect. You know, if it was any closer, it wouldn't work. You know, and the same as the moon. You know, that's in the right spot.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know.
Yeah.
And that operates the tides and things. You know.
Oh yeah,
this
yeah.
kind of stuff.
Has an effect on the water.
Or something. You know. But,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I don't know everything about all that, but you know, I just.
But that's where the word lunar. You know, you got a lunar moon.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where the word lunatic comes from. And what's
I've never heard of a lunatic. But there you go.
No, but a lunatic. What?
Lunatic. Oh, I've got it here.
If you see, I mean, when someone says someone's a lunatic, usually I
get that a lot.
Someone who's you know, crazy, but not in a good way.
I get called that a lot.
If you see what I mean, not in a good way. But that's where that word comes from, because they realise that the moon actually does have an effect on people, because we are predominantly water as well.
Mm-hmm.
We are made up of predominantly water as well as human beings. And where the moon does affect water, it has a, you know, and it can also affect women's menstrual cycles and all that type of stuff as well.
Yeah, well, it does, doesn't it?
You
like,
know?
for instance,
you know,
like coral.
Yeah.
They let off lots of pollen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Polyps. Yeah.
You know, and they. I think it's, you know, I don't know whereabouts, but there's certain pollen, alright, that lets off every full moon. You know, once a year.
Yeah.
You know, it's all crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's all kind of work. Even birds work with the moon. You know, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? When they navigate and all this. You know?
Yeah.
I think they use a magnetic thingy.
Yeah.
Birds.
Okay.
They've got a magnetic sense.
Yeah.
And they can feel where they are with the, you know, the sun's got a magnetic pressure, which I don't think we can feel. We don't need it. Do you know what I mean? But birds have got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they can navigate using. Bats can do it as well. You know, a little bit. You know, they use radar, don't they?
I was gonna say bats are, what's it called? What's the word? You know what I'm trying to say?
I don't.
But they can only see in the dark. Nocturnal.